ko karakia, feel free to join in. Kia inoi tātou. Tuia e ronga, tuia e raro, tuia e roto, tuia e waho, tuia ngā kaimahi o te kaunihira o Kirikiriroa, whaia te e te kahurangi, kia u, kia mau, kia ita, haumie, huie, tai kie. Kia ora everyone, and welcome to the first Community Committee for 3rd of Feb. Very exciting to be the first committee of the whole for the year. I hope we've all had some rest. We've got a very busy year ahead of us, so hope you've made the most of some relaxing time. Thank you to the guests that are in the room today for joining us. Okay, let's get into it. So item 1, I'll open for apologies. I've just noted Councillor Andrew, Councillor Robin, Councillor Sue are just running a few minutes late, but other than that I've not received any apologies. There's no early leavers today. No. That being said, I move that the apologies be accepted. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Deputy Mayor Jeff. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against?
Carried unanimously.
Thank you. Confirmation of the agenda. I don't believe there's any more changes to be made.
No, other than the late chair's report.
Other than the late attachment, which has been added to diligent. I'll move that the agenda be confirmed. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Anna. All those in favour? Against?
Carried unanimously.
Thank you. Making good progress. Declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest today? There being none, we can move to item 4, which is public forum. I understand there's no public forum today, as we're all speaking in the hearings for the next item. So I'll open up item 5. I would just like to start by reminding this committee that, and all our viewers online today, the purpose of this item. So we're here to listen and consider both those who participated in our public hearing, but also the 18 submissions received in writing. I also note that today's item is regarding the reclassification of the Lake Domain Reserve, and that the only thing we are moving today is that we're forming the basis for a deliberations report, which will be presented to Council on the 21st of April 2026. Just a quick reminder for new elected members, the process for hearings is that we'll hear from our lovely submitters today, and each submitter gets 5 minutes inclusive of any questions they may wish to take from elected members. After the public hearing, I will open up the item for staff to introduce the topic in full, and at that point you can ask staff of questions. So are there any questions on the process? No, there being none, I will call our first submitter, which is Glenda Morrissey. Welcome, Glenda. If you'd just like to step up to the chair here. As I noted, you have 5 minutes to speak to your submission. If you wish to take questions from elected members during that allowed time at the end for that. So take the time you need.
Kia ora. I am Glenda Morrissey. I live at 17 Ruakiwi Road and have lived in Hamilton for over 50 years. I'm here to formally oppose the proposed classification of reserve land to enable building on the selected Ruakiwi site. While I acknowledge the importance of planning for Hamilton's future water supply, I oppose achieving this by permanently losing protected reserve land within the Hamilton City domain. Once reserve land is built over, it's lost forever. The Council's proposal creates a fundamental conflict of interest. It seeks to clarify land protected for public enjoyment under the Reserved Act in order to accommodate industrial-scale infrastructure. Hamilton Lake Domain is one of the city's most important recreational assets. Your own Lake Domain management plan prioritises minimum building structures, protecting open space, and the current proposal directly undermines these objectives. as it sets a precedent for future erosion of reserve land. Under Section 7 of the Resource Management Act, Council must have particular regard to the maintenance of amenity values. Hamilton CBD is intensifying rapidly, with over 10,000 additional residents expected by 2035. Many of these will be living in high-density houses with limited access to private outdoor spaces. For these residents, the Lake Domain and the Ruakiwi Ridgeline will function as their backyard. Placing two massive industrial reservoir structures on this ridgeline degrades the open natural character and sends a clear message that green space is secondary to engineering convenience. Section 171 of the RMA requires adequate consideration to alternative sites. The Council's multi-criteria analysis weighed in at 55% towards technical and financial factors. This was effectively predetermined the outcome in favour of the Ruakiwi site. Under this framework, the Peacock Reserve site would not realistically succeed, despite having fewer community and environmental impacts. While Peacock Reserve may involve higher pumping costs, it does not require the permanent loss of domain land for short-term financial efficiency. The existing reservoir is recognised as a heritage structure, and the ridgeline has cultural landscape significance. Introducing 60-metre diameter industrial tanks will visually dominate and effectively industrialise heritage landscape. The construction period is expected to last up to 30 months. That the noise, the vibration, early morning concrete pours, heavy vehicle movements along Ruakiwi Road will significantly affect the residents, lake users and visitors. The AEE understates these impacts in their reports. Having that in the area is certainly incompatible with the tranquil and recreational nature of the domain. So I remind you that the purpose of the Reserve Act is to protect land for public benefit enjoyment. So reclassifying this land to local purpose to reduce infrastructure costs is inconsistent with that purpose and the Council's own strategic goals. Reservoirs would cause permanent and irreversible loss to that domain. I respectfully ask you to reject the notice of requirement and to change the land and further pursue the alternative Peacock Reserve site, which better aligns with community wellbeing, environmental sustainability and long-term city planning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Glenda. Appreciate your time. We do have a little bit of time for questions. So we'll open up the floor. Councillor O'Leary.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms Morrissey, for your very detailed submission. I just have two questions. My first one is, do you have a background in planning?
No.
You don't? Oh, it's a great submission. I appreciate it. My second question is, in your submission, you claim that staff have understated the extent of public opposition. Can you expand on this and which engagement phase you're referring to?
I think it was one of the initial stages where we were invited to the Lake Domain. Residents at Ruakiwi Road turned up at that.
So was that a result of a letter you received as a resident?
Yeah, I think it was a mail drop.
Okay, so
it was one of the community meetings.
So that may have been the targeted engagement with residents, which was the second one. Okay, that's helpful when I ask staff.
Yeah, I think at that engagement, we were kind of presented with it. It was a done deal. It was going ahead, and we were at that stage asked to put what we preferred into the way of landscaping, etc.
Oh, the design one,
yeah.
Okay.
So we had one resident did get up and actually walk out of that, and the rest of us were protesting, but the report stated there was little opposition.
That's helpful, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And thank you very much, Glenda. As Councillor Leary said, that was a very detailed submission. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Next we have Ross Needham. Welcome, Ross. Again, councillors have had time to read through your submission that you've put through. You have 5 minutes inclusive of questions today.
Thank you. My name is Ernest Ross Needham, known as Ross. I have been a resident of Hamilton for more than 60 years and have lived at 117 Ruakiwi Road for 22 years in a property built 41 years ago. At 85, the anticipated stress of the next 4 years will be considerable for my well-being. My stress levels are already high, property values will be affected, and living next door to the reserve during the construction period will be intolerable. I am aware that this hearing is in relation to the reserve status change and that another hearing for designation will be held later in February. However, these matters should be considered jointly. The reserve status would not have to be changed if the designation for the reservoirs was not to proceed. I remain firmly in support of option 2. I urge that the classification of part of Lake Domain Reserve should not be changed. The proposed reclassification and consequential designation, construction works, and then the longer term use of the reservoirs will result in significant intrusive erosion of a vital central reserve which will have lasting effects. The dominating scale of the project will alter the natural scenic character of the area. It is important to question whether this aligns with the purposes of the Reserve Act 1977. The impact of new reservoirs will be detrimental to the benefit and enjoyment of nearby residents, in fact all residents of Hamilton. Additionally, 3.6 acres of the Domain Reserve will be lost to the 4,140 new dwellings planned for the future. I ask what future reserve land will be provided for these new residents as part of this reclassification application. The existing domain is an open space offering passive recreation opportunities which are now to be replaced by paths, drinking foundations and play areas. Dog freedom will be lost. My residence is only 33 metres from the project, about the 1.5 times the length of a cricket pitch, making me direct neighbour. However, the impact of my property and those of nearby residents has been downplayed in project communications. There are statements suggesting that the site is well separated from residential properties, thus mitigating noise and visual disruption during construction and operation of the reservoirs. I invite decision makers for both this hearing and a second hearing to visit and see the reality substantial. Substantial comments have been made regarding my submission, particularly the removal of trees 30 and 30A, to which I strongly oppose. Experts agree these trees are healthy, but argue their removal will enhance the historic water tower. The project's impact assessment seems to give little weight to the effects of residential properties, including acoustics and noise levels, and over the anticipated 24 to 30 months of the high impact activities. Noise may reach levels that are non-compliant, affecting my home and those of other residents. Traffic management has already been problematic, with early morning disturbances and road workers causing inconvenience, with no notification or prior consultation. Although much has been said about public consultation, only one person out of the 17 required to provide authority evidence has contacted or visited my residence to assess the project's impact. I question the validity of the expert opinions that have not been informed by direct observation of the affected properties. There has been no further comment from Hamilton City Council's or elected members. though more input is certainly needed. There is much more I could add, but I'm mindful of my time for these submissions. I hope these concerns are duly considered in the decision-making process. Thank you.
Right on time. Do we have any questions? We've got 17 seconds. I'll allow for a question. No? There being none, thank you very much, Ross, for your time. I know it can be a daunting process, but also elected members are able to ask staff questions as well if they have any further. Okay, I believe we have Rimu.
Rimu isn't online yet.
She's not online.
We do have our next submitter in the room.
Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have Rimu online yet, but we do have our next submitter, Te Kopa King. Te Kopa, are you free to come up? If you're just able to come to this. Kia ora Te Kopa, no mai haere mai. Welcome to the committee. So, if you're unfamiliar with the process, we have five minutes to speak, which will include any time for questions from elected members if you so wish.
Tēnā tātou. I don't think I'll be that long. I only came in here really just to say hello. Congratulations to all the new councillors, the new mayor and the deputy mayor. Congratulations. I did have a few concerns around the lake proposed. Is it the new reservoir? Yeah. The location, I think it's a little bit. I don't think I can really. No changes can be made at the moment, eh? It's already been.
No, that's okay. So to clarify, today is about the reclassification of the reserve at the Lake Domain. So that's what we're speaking to today.
Okay. Yeah, so
Feel free.
for me, I think it is just that the location where it is situated, I prefer it to be a bit lower than that. Just the risk, that's all, you know. And the cultural side of things, I know you are in partnership with Waikato Tainui, but is Waikato Tainui in partnership with Māori in general? That's the only concern that I have, really. Because I know for a fact that our iwi and hapu have made a lot of submissions around that area in the past, before I was born, obviously. And I just want to know how that is working out for us in the future, because we're still here, you know, in our genealogy, so in our heritage. And I just wanted to see where things moving forward with us in the picture, if that is ever going to happen at all, or if it will be able to. That's all. And yeah, basically that's it, pretty much.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions for Te Kopa? No? There being none, I think you've made a clear point there. And again, we're able to ask questions of staff if there are any points of clarification elected members wish to make. So, if you're happy with that, yeah. Thank you so much for coming in today. Ngā mihi. Have a good day. Do we have Rima online again? So we have to take. Do we?
What we could do
Adjourn
is
for-
adjourn for just
speak. Okay, our final submitter is still not online, so to give them a chance, because we are running a little bit ahead, I will invite staff to come and speak to the item, and then we may return to the final submitter if they appear online in the meantime. So I'll ask Emily James to come present the item. Thank you, Emily.
Morena kia ora koutou. Just thank you to all of today's verbal submitters and those that have also provided written feedback. As noted earlier, there is no decision being sought today. I will just note that there is a small typo in the report. Page 10, paragraph 30, that should be 5,000, not 45,000. And that has been changed now on diligent. So I'm happy to take any direction or specific areas of interest that you would like staff to explore as we prepare the report that will be coming to the 21st of April meeting.
Perhaps, Emily, would it be all right if we just give a bit of history and context, just because we've got a lot of new elected members in the room to talk through what the process has been from here that's led us to this point, if you don't mind.
So my role in this process is the reserve change of classification. So the project team is kind of a slightly different group to me, but essentially the Lake Domain site was specified as the preferred site. The classification currently is Recreation Reserve, and that's under the Reserves Act. So that current classification does not align with the new intended purposes if we were to build the water reservoirs there. So the Reserve Act does acknowledge that reserves need to change from time to time to reflect community needs, etc. So with building the reservoirs, it requires a change of reserve classification. So that would be from recreation reserve to local purpose water infrastructure reserve. So there is a process that we need to go through under the Reserves Act, starting with 1 month public consultation, which has just happened. We hear from submitters today, and then council make a decision at the April meeting. In terms of the land use, concurrently there is a designation process happening, which again is separate. There's also been consultation on that process. There is a hearing for that in late February, and a decision will be made by that independent panel in March. So there will be a decision on the land designation by the time we come back to that April 21 meeting. In terms of the project itself, the project team is set to start building in late 2026. I can't, I guess, speak too much to the project itself, but I can answer some basic questions, I guess.
So the purpose of today's meeting is just around the reclassification of the reserve to enable the rest of the project process to continue. But as Emily pointed out, there hasn't been a designation as yet. You get to make that decision at a later point, but the reclassification is required to enable the project. So this is just part of the process, but it is also separate from the process. So today the questioning isn't so much about the project itself, questions that we can take questions about the reclassification of the reserve, and your questions can be on the project itself, will be appropriate for the meetings with the project team. What we can offer, particularly because we do have so many new councils, is a drop-in session on the project and where it's at and what it includes and what decisions have been made to date before you have that, before either the deliberation on the reclassification or the designation itself.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Helen. I think that's very clear, and I see we've got a number of questions on the board, starting with Councillor O'Leary.
Yeah, thank you, General Manager, for clarifying that, because we aren't here today for questions on the project. So having read all the submissions, what I'd like to see staff bring back in the deliberations report is some submitters raised the negative impacts of reclassification to events, or the possibility of that. So I'd like to understand whether the new designated area that's outlined in the map will have any negative effects on events in that general area. Some submitters also raised conflicts with, in particular, the Hamilton Lake Domain Management Plan. So I'd like some information on how staff will resolve the conflicts, particularly with that plan, but as well as any other council strategies and plans, and there were a few peppered through all of the submissions. And my last point that I would like staff to bring back to the deliberations report is some submitters, written and verbal today, have raised concerns with the engagement process that we took over the 3 phases. In particular, I'd like confirmation on the number of attendees at the workshop. I know that's not, I couldn't find it in our report. And then a summary of any feedback that was presented at that workshop, and also the number of residents that we classified as affected in the area, and the number of letters sent, and any particular feedback. I note in your report, Emily, that it said the workshop, for those residents that couldn't attend the workshop, they were sent an email to be able to respond. So I'd like a bit of information around that. So that's what I'd like to see in the deliberations report. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
So I guess that was just more a consideration. You're not looking for a response on that today? Yeah, but it was just a question. Okay. Councillor Moroney.
Yeah, that's going, thank you. Kia ora. This may be straying into the project itself, but I think it is strongly related to the reason why we're considering reclassification. One of the submitters raised the issue about a site that was considered in Peacocks, and I'm interested to understand why this site was chosen ahead of the Peacocks one. What were the key considerations there? And the other issue that I have an interest in understanding is the cultural considerations that have been raised by some of the submitters. Is there an urapa there or nearby? You know, what are the cultural considerations, and what discussions have been had around those?
So that is more of a project team question, but I can bring that information into the deliberations report for both those.
And we can also ensure that it's included in the drop-in session material and conversation.
Moroney? Councillor Huata.
Thank you all the submitters that have come in today and given up your time. Tēnā koutou. My questions are a follow-on from Councillor Moroney's questions about the cultural impact assessment, if there was one done. Clarification for some of our submitters in terms of engagement with tangata whenua. Which tangata whenua? Who? And how will, well, it's not the reclassification, but I'd like to know a bit more about the impact on the potential aspirations to restore Lake Rotoroa. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Huata. Councillor Bidder.
Thank you, Chair Emma. I think it would be very useful for both councillors and the public to get some more information on why we are doing this redesignation. So I want to sort of get some more information on the original business case with the projections for CBD and CBD fringe new dwellings year by year from the time of the original business case. So this is a fundamental purpose for why we're having the new reservoir. So to sort of just be able to see those figures again and compare that to the actual CBD and CBD fringe new dwellings constructed since the business case, and an updated projection for the new CBD and fringe dwellings, and also what proportion of the reservoir stage 1 is for the Waikato Hospital. the CBD and fringe growth and improvements to services in Melville, Glenview and Lake existing dwellings.
Thank you, Councillor Bidder. Councillor Mead.
Thank you, Councillor. Two questions, if I can. The options and questions that were given to residents during the consultations, what were they? Was it just the two options, one options or no options? What were they given? And the other one I've got is, who will be the independent panel deciding this? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mead. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Chair. My question's some submitters have noted their concerns around the loss of green space. Now we're doing, currently this is proposed for one reservoir with the potential for a second, and it was mentioned that there was this option of Peacock. So I'd like to understand, does the second reservoir actually have to go in this space? Is there a way for us to look at doing that differently in order to reduce the impact on the overall green space taken up by this? And I'd also just like to understand at what point in time, because I'm struggling to find it now, elected members were informed about the other option of Peacock and why ultimately this has been chosen over that. So a better understanding of that would be helpful as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Strange.
Yeah, just two questions. If this council decide to move forward with a reclassification, what is the usual time frame on that, and does it need ministerial sign-off?
I can answer that now. So we have delegated authority.
Okay.
So the Chief Executive drafts a letter, and that will happen if council decide to approve the reclassification in April. That will go ahead in May.
Thank you.
A point of note is if there is, even if the reclassification goes ahead but no project occurs, it doesn't change the use of the reserve as reserve and recreation.
Okay.
Yep. That's correct.
Thank you, Councillor Strange. Councillor Case-Cox.
Thank you. Just a question around, a few submitters mentioned the loss of trees due to the reclassification. So I just want to, have more detail on that, and what further might be able to be done to keep some of the more mature trees. And any information, I know bats have been are located there, so just any information in relation to that and impacts on that population. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Anna. Councillor Corrales.
Oh, thank you. First of all, good morning, and thank you to the submitters that took the time to come and express your views. Really, really appreciate it. I want to lend my support to pretty much everything that has been raised by my fellow councillors, but particularly in relation to the consultations and also in relation to more information around the cultural concerns that have been raised and engagement of mana whenua. And then finally, just coming in off the back of some of the things that Councillor Bidder was recommending, and this may be in the context of a workshop, is information about what further consultation processes are envisaged moving forward, and also what processes or options are available to the newly elected council if the business case or any new information gives reason or gives cause for pause, shall we say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Corrales. Me McIndoe.
Thank you, Chair. Along with others, could I also acknowledge our submitters this morning and everybody who supplied a written submission, because there were quite a large number of them. But Yours were particularly detailed, and I think we all understand your specific concerns given that you are residents in that area. So I want to acknowledge that. Also thank council colleagues who have raised a lot of the questions I wanted to. But just a couple of extra things. On the question of the trees, and it's referred to in Mr. Needham's report, but also others, he specifically mentioned trees number 30 and 30A. So while we're looking at the trees in their entirety, could we also have a particular focus on those two? I appreciate, if we were to reach some sort of compromise, it might not necessarily satisfy all submitters, but it could be a compensating factor. The other thing I just picked up on the comment on the bottom of page 60, none of the supplementary reports seem to have been peer reviewed for adequacy. I just wonder if we could have a comment on that in the report or at the appropriate time, please. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mayor McIntyre. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you. I guess first of all I would like to appreciate our submitters for coming in, for speaking, and for the written submissions that have been received. A lot of the questions that I had have been asked, but I guess in particular I would like to lend support to the question that Councillor Bidder raised around the justification for doing this. As I understand it, the plans, the whole project and designation and reclassification hinges on growth projections of an extra 10,000 residents over the next 10 years. And I guess I would be looking for current updates on that, because decisions have been made as things have changed. If you're looking at net immigration numbers, things have changed from when the business case for this was put forth. So I guess I would just like an update on that to make sure that the why we're doing this is still valid.
Those questions are somewhat outside of the process of the reclassification, but I'll make sure that they're included in the drop-in material, which we'll also send out in case can't attend.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. We have no further questions. I had some questions around cultural concerns and the wider consultation process, but both those have been answered. So we'll need to move into debate. No. Yes, we'll have to move on because, yeah, we've tried to contact the last submitter and they're unavailable. But you will find their submission, written submission in the report. So we'll move into debate. Would you like to move on? I'll move the staff recommendation. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Enna. Move into debate. We won't need to debate because it's part of the hearings and we've provided our input. I'd like to thank the submitters again for their participation today and those who submitted online as well. Thank you so much for your time. I know Councillor O'Leary is working on how we can make improvements on our engagement with public, so we look forward to those as well. And look forward to the drop-in session which staff have alluded to help inform all elected members of the project at large leading into the next meeting.
Sorry, Chair, there's actually no staff recommendation in the report. I can't find it. It goes, the first page is page 7, which is the map. And then there's all the other details. So we need a motion.
Okay, so I move.
It's normally move the staff report, receive the staff report, and then that
The deliberations being
considered. Committee receives the submissions and then the deliberation date.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. So I move that we.
We'll bring it on the screen in a second just so you can see it. I don't know what's quite happened to it, but we'll fix it. Because it's showing my one on page 7. Don't know why.
Please bear with us. That's why we have a whip on hand, to keep us in line. Okay. So all those in favour say aye. Against?
Carried unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, item 6, the Chair's report. So I'll just quickly run through that. I just want to acknowledge how proud I am to serve as Chair of Community and to work alongside my Deputy Chair, Anna, I know her grassroots connections and her passion for people and the environment are invaluable. So I look forward to working together with her and the wider committee to strengthen our connection between council and community. I mentioned that Councillor Anna, Councillor Robbie and I spent some time at the community centres over recent months, and that just reinforced to us all, I think, just how much pressure our families and wider community are under, and just the extraordinary work that all our community centres do every day. So a big shout out to them for their work. They're the backbone of our community, and it's important that we do connect with them to work as we navigate some difficult decisions ahead. Spoke a little bit about some of the December events. It's a busy time of year for our city. It was fantastic to go to some Christmas celebrations alongside many of our fellow councillors and Mayor Tim. Thank you so much for showing up for our community. I spoke about the rise and use of our aquatics facilities over summer, fetching about 16,000 more visitors in December than December 2024. We know there's high demand for our pools and our partner pools, and I just noted in the report that there's some workshops for councillors coming up. In the long-term plan, we will discuss the future needs of these facilities and of our community. Just finally, I want to acknowledge the Natural Area Advisor team who have just joined us today. Welcome. Thank you so much for your outstanding work in the community and for our council. Your work is fantastic, and it shows what's possible when council and community work together and how we can achieve some fantastic environmental outcomes. But I will invite Mayor Tim to make a presentation.
You've got 30
Sorry.
I've been messaging you.
He's been so fixated by my report that he just in a moment. We just yeah. And we'll also ask Jeff to come up as well. Me, Tim is talking to it, and then he can have the opportunity to talk. So.
Apologise for that. I was just slightly thrown by the fact that I thought this was coming up late. It's always a real pleasure and an honour to be able to recognise the wonderful work that staff do, particularly when it secures an acknowledgement of this nature. And I just want to say to all the team who are here today, we celebrate with you We're very, very proud of you. We're delighted for you that your efforts have been recognised in this way. I know that Councillor Emma has spent more time talking to you, or at least I believe she has, getting more of an understanding about exactly what went into it. In our opportunity in a few moments when we have our debate on the Chair's report, I know that several councillors will make their own acknowledgement to you. But today, as the Mayor, it gives me great pleasure to be able to present this award to you in a ceremony, I guess, that is being broadcast to the world. Anybody could be watching online at this time. And as I say, I just want to acknowledge you all. Thank you for the great mahi that you are doing. You are a credit to our city, to our council, and we're very grateful for you and hope that you will be encouraged by this to continue your efforts and to secure great things in the years to come. So allow me, please, to present this. Would you all like to come forward? I'm excited about it. Congratulations. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. Right, so, as I said, I'm still not sure. Well, how about I present it to you, and then you present it to you.
Thanks very much on behalf of the team. Really do appreciate the recognition, and hopefully you can carry on with the great work.
Yeah, good.
Congratulations.
People are acknowledged in here for awards, and it only happens sparingly, but when it does, they've usually completed somewhere between 40 and 55 years of service to Hamilton City Council. So no pressure, but we expect to see a lot more of you in the years.
Just about the
Yes.
Kia ora koutou, my name's Jeff Cannon. Nō te rangi tuarehu aho. My name's Jeff Cannon, I'm from the Parks Leaders Forum, and I'm from Tauranga Moana. This is a real honour. This is the first time this award's been given, and the inaugural award is a very special one for this team who absolutely slammed the contest. They did so well against some tough competition. In every category they led really well, and I've known them for a while, and they've done great things way back to the days of the Mangi-iti Gullies. In particular, the community connection, the increase in biodiversity, and just the value in working with people, and the values of Te Taio. So those things really, really went well. And well done, Hamilton City, for supporting the activity and those results just flowing through from year to year. Parks Leaders Forum very quickly represents most councils in the country. It represents an annual investment in the country of about $750 million from communities from community rates goes back into communities. And we did a report which we took some leadership from Hamilton called The Economic Value of Parks, and we cited what you invest in places like Hamilton Gardens and your investment in the CBD for beautification and this work as an exemplar. So it's really fitting that it's come through in an award for the team, so well done.
Okay. Are there any questions on the report? Mayor McIndoe, is yours a question or just for debate? Is yours a question? Okay. Sorry. So I'll move that the Chair's report be accepted. If I can have a seconder. Councillor Bidder, beat you to it. And then we'll open up for debate. Deputy Mayor Taylor.
Thanks, Chair. Look, very simply, I just wanted to congratulate you as well on your first Chair's report. Ripping start, well done. And just looking at all your activities in December, you and your Deputy Anna have certainly got around. You must have hardly been at home, so well done. Really wholehearted start, good on you.
I wanted to echo the Deputy Mayor's comments, and also that I went to you and I attended an event at the Hamilton Garden, which was our launch of an events handbook. And I was there to witness your first speech as chair, and I did put it into our elected member chat how great you did, and it was a very moving speech, and you clearly put a lot of thought into that. So I'm really looking forward to hearing you speak in this new portfolio. Well done.
Gosh, my head will be huge by the end of this. Councillor Thompson.
Oh, thanks. Oh, unfortunately, the Parks, Nature and the City team have just left. Anyway, I did want to acknowledge them and Maria as well, for all of your work. Now, I've been along to a number of the plantings, as I know other elected members have too, and it's just really cool to see all the school students involved, and to see them having the chance to plant trees, get their hands dirty. I've even taken, a 2-year-old down there to dig and plant trees, and it's really a good experience, because people can look back at places like Waiwhakariki and say, actually, I helped to plant that. And we've got some beautiful gullies. We went through Mangiti recently, and it's such a cool asset for that local community there. There were even eels in the stream. No one go to fish them, please. So we're creating a fantastic asset for the future, as well as getting people involved. Also, thank you, Chair, for your first Chair's report and for all of the work that you've done so far. I'm really looking forward to the discussion on pools. I visited the partner pools over the summer, and I was particularly impressed by Fairfield and the amount of work they do to promote that pool and to have activities there. They do a huge amount of work, and I think we need to think really carefully about how we support that. And I also was impressed by the number of people at Te Rapa Pool too. So, how do we further strengthen the really good work that those groups are doing?
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Casey Cox.
Yeah, I just echo everyone else's comments about Chair Emma. It's been great to work alongside you already, and I really appreciate the heart you have for our community, and it shines through in all the interactions we have, so I really value that. And just in terms of the award that our team just received, I've had a lot to do with that team through the years, with working at Go Eco as well, and just the passion and commitment they show to our natural areas, but actually just to community generally, and making people feel welcome and part of this kaupapa of getting to that 10% Indigenous biodiversity coverage. And it's a great goal to have, and I think it does set us apart from other cities with our commitment to that, and our Nature in the City strategy as well. So I'm really pleased that that's been acknowledged in the way that it has, and I think it'll mean a lot to the team. I hope it does, because that kind of work can sometimes be under the radar and a little bit hidden, in terms of the council's work. So it's wonderful just to lift it up today and see it shine. And I just really thank all the team and Maria and everybody involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor McIndoe.
Kia ora, Chair, thank you. And I particularly want to echo the comments of the Deputy Mayor earlier, but also other councillors who have spoken, and to acknowledge you and Councillor Casey Cox. I think we have an excellent team leading our community committee, and thank you, Helen, to you and your team, who I know are working very well with them. Community, of course, is right at the heart of everything that we do, and probably one of the most visible things we do. So could I widen it and also acknowledge, as you have in your report, the many different events that have already been held, and we're still in our honeymoon period as a new council. It reflects the fact that Hamilton is a busy, vibrant, multicultural city, and there is so much happening here. So I want to widen the net by thanking all elected members for the fact that you have already been diligent and enthusiastic in your attendance at a wide number of events in our city. And to let you know, I get a lot of feedback from our residents who really appreciate when they see us all out in the community, supporting them, particularly multicultural events, because for many of them, they come from a culture where it was very rare to meet an elected member, and they really appreciate the fact that here in our city in particular, our elected members are accessible to them and showing genuine interest in them. But it's not just the multicultural organisations, it's a whole range of different things. And we've got exciting things coming up with Waitangi Day, of course, just a few days away, the Hamilton Gardens Arts Festival, which I know we're all looking forward to. So to everybody involved in the community space, thank you for the good work that you're doing. It was so lovely today to be able to recognise the Parks and Gardens team, because they do a wonderful job for us. And I'm so thrilled that they received that award, even if I was slightly thrown by not being quite ready at the time to present it. But great to have them with us. So thank you all. Thank you to our chair and our deputy chair. I know that you're a great duo leading this work for us, and really look forward to seeing what you will achieve over the next 3 years on our collective behalf.
Thank you, me, Mike and Councillor Corrales.
Thank you, Councillor Pike. I echo but won't repeat comments already made in relation to your hard work and also the hard work of others, and acknowledgements for the Parks team. What I do want to acknowledge, Councillor Pike, in respect of your report, is you giving visibility to the financial hardship and economic distress that came through from your visits to the community houses. And of course, it's not just the community houses that are working hard to support families in our communities, but we have a whole for-purpose sector dealing with that. And I think I just want to take the opportunity to highlight that from your report, because it really underscores the importance of the work that we're trying to do around delivering affordable rates, financial discipline across the organisation, and delivering value for money in terms of all of the services that we deliver. So thank you very much.
Councillor Niha.
Morena koe tau. Just want to support your chairmanship as well, Councillor Pike. Tēnā koe. I also want to thank you and Councillor Casey Cox for accompanying me to the community houses. It was one of my early goals, and we did that in 2 weeks particularly as a new councillor. I also want to, having attended many events, also have attended many karakia and blessings. And I want to thank our team, having seen Mona and Janet here. Mihi atene kia koutou. And our mana whenua, our staff who have coordinated and facilitated those blessings in karakia. When we talk community, we certainly talk about our people, the places and spaces, but it's also important for us as councillors and council to also acknowledge that they are mana whenua spaces, that they are culturally significant to our people of the city, all people. So it's important that we are moving forward, that we support our mana whenua, and that we are constantly putting to the forefront the names and the spaces of these very important whenua tohu significant spaces. So kia ora koutou.
Councillor Huata.
Tēnā tata i runga I tēnei marama o rākau nui, full moon, extra energy, let's go out there and use it. I just want to take a different spin and echo all the thoughts that have been shared around the table, and kia koe, it won't go too big, and you're allowed to. Take the compliment. But as we begin a new triennium, we as councillors have a real opportunity to shape Hamilton's future by keeping our communities, our taiao and our economic well-being at the heart of every decision. Hamilton is growing, and growth must be managed well. We need strong infrastructure, responsible financial management and smart investment. But a successful city isn't built on roads and pipes alone. We know this. It's built on places people choose to live, work and visit and invest in. Our parks, pools, gullies and river are not just community assets, they are economic assets, from Hamilton Gardens and the Waikato River to our gully network. These spaces support tourism, attract talent, lift property values and reduce long-term health and environmental costs. Investing in restoration projects, native planting and waterway health is not a luxury. It strengthens climate resilience, and we've seen that in the past week, and I want to acknowledge what has happened in Tauranga Moana, Hauraki and Te Taitokerau. It strengthens climate resilience, reduces future infrastructure and flood costs, and supports local jobs in environmental and community sectors. As councillors, our role is to balance affordability with long-term value. That means being disciplined with spending, prioritising core infrastructure and making sure every dollar counts, delivering benefits for our economy, our environment, but most importantly, our people. At the start of this new training, we had the chance to take a steady, collaborative approach, working with tangata whenua, businesses and communities to grow Hamilton, Kirikiriroa, in a way that is resilient and competitive. A city that invests wisely in its taiao, environment and its people, tangata, is a city that prospers. Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora. Perfect. I'll just take my right of reply to thank everyone for their kind comments and praises of Councillor Anna and I. We certainly don't take this responsibility of this committee lightly, and we look forward to strengthening our connection with our people. So thank you very much, and tautoko to Councillor Niha and Councillor Hoata on highlighting the role of working with tangata whenua and working on our resilience as well. I echo the sentiments said by Councillor Casey Cox, who highlighted the passion and the commitment of our parks team. I know they really do go above and beyond to get some fantastic outcomes of the city and our people, and working towards that 10% biodiversity is really such an aspirational goal, and I look forward to seeing our city grow and green up. I had some comments over the weekend actually from some international visitors, and they just said your parks are such a highlight of the city and you should be proud of it. So it is well deserved, and a huge congratulations to the team. So with that, I will take the vote. All those in I've had a second, haven't I? Sorry. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against?
Carried unanimously.
Well done. Well, we steamed through that. An hour to spare. Thank you everyone for your participation today. A reminder, we have a workshop following this meeting, and also after we close with karakia, we have a quick update on Waitangi Day. So we'll just close with the council karakia. Tēnei te whakairi, tēnei te whakawātia, haumie, huie, taiki. Thank you everyone. Who was going to update on Waitangi?